Good morning. Day before Christmas, and I was struggling with a title for this video, and then I said, Alexa, play John Denver.
Shuffling Your Songs by John Denver on Amazon Music.
Oh my goodness. Alexa, play John Denver on iHeartRadio.
Getting John Denver station from
She's got good hearing. I've tried to whisper her name. She has really good hearing. Alexa, play next. But anyway, so I asked Alexa to play John Denver on iHeartRadio. Alexa, play next. You know, I've probably... Alexa, play next. Alexa, stop. Okay, I don't want to hear Simon and Garfunkel. But anyway, for those of you out there that don't have one of these, you ask her to play a certain artist on, for example, iHeartRadio. And the way iHeart works is they will play artists that are they will play music from the artists that you ask, and or music that's similar, the same genre, I think is the way you pronounce that. But anyway, so I had asked her to play John Denver on iHeart. And she played the song Rocky Mountain High. And for those of you not familiar with that, go and search the song Rocky Mountain High lyrics. And it's a beautiful song. John Denver was quite the songwriter. And the Rocky Mountain High is a story or song, as I understand it, of a young man becoming born again. And it's just a beautiful song. I think it starts out, he was born in the summer of his 29th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before, something like that. But boy, you know, you get out on the road, you get out on the open road, and you roll down the windows and you crank up some John Denver or Neil Diamond on your radio, and life doesn't get much better than that, I must say. So anyway, start of another day, and today is Christmas Eve. And you know, interestingly enough, I'm not feeling sorry for myself that I'm going to be alone on Christmas. It's not something that's going to devastate me. It will come and go. I am having lunch today. I'm having lunch today with a lady friend and her mother. And it's really interesting. It's really an interesting. It's really an interesting story, because I met this woman. She's from Britain. I met this woman from Britain. Oh, probably 4 years ago now. However long I've been living here, I met her. And boy, did sparks fly. Did sparks ever fly when I met her? And I was head over heels about her. I was head over heels. I was head over heels about her back then. I just repeated myself. At least I'm catching myself repeating myself. All right. But anyway, at the sake of repeating myself again, I was head over heels about her. And it lasted for the better part of, I don't know, several dates. No intimacy, though. No intimacy. But it lasted for the better part of several dates, only for her to kind of dump me. I don't remember how she dumped me, but only for her to dump me. And oftentimes, as I have over the years, stay friends, with somebody that I dated or have a good line of communication, and her being no exception. So I've gotten to know her pretty well over the last few years, and I must say that I'm rather fond. I'm fond of her. She's a very intelligent lady. Very I guess the word was once up. I guess the phrase to use maybe to describe her, and God forbid she watches my videos. I don't think she does. But the maybe a phrase that you could describe her with would be upper crust. Have you ever heard that expression, upper crust? Upper crust is like the top or something like that. And I don't know the origin of that phrase, but somebody once used that phrase to describe me, upper crust, and she is. I'm anything but upper crust. I'm the stuff that you scrape off the bottom of the pan, after you're baking something for a while, and you go, it tastes good, but it doesn't look that good. You got to scrape it off that's that's what I am. But anyway, but she's upper crust, and I get the impression that she's just waiting for that Mr. Right with all the money, the Mr. Right that can, and you find women like that. I don't know if you would call them gold diggers or not, but they think that they're deserving of having a man that can whisk them off to Paris for the weekend and what have you. And more times than not, those women end up growing old and alone. But anyway, that's so I'm having lunch with her and Mum, Mum, and I've never met Mum before. So we're having, I guess it's a tradition that they have lunch together on Christmas Eve. But I should give a shout out to those in Australia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's already Christmas down there, or Christmas Eve. So to all of you folks down under, Merry Christmas to you. So last night felt like the first night of normalcy for me. Normalcy in that it feels like my body clock is getting back to where it should. And I say that because I was able to keep my eyes open well past 9 o'clock last night, and that was good. And as I was lying there in bed, I was Googling stuff pertaining to visas and the European Union, and somebody yesterday had suggested that I go to Malta. And Malta's part of the well, not only it's part of the EU. I guess the way it works is, as a foreigner, or as a non-European, maybe is a better phrase. As a non-European, you can go to Europe for a 90-day period within a 180-day period. So you can go for 90 days, and the clock starts ticking on 180 days the day you land. So for me, that clock started ticking on September 18th when I landed in Budapest out of Moscow. So from September 18th on, for 6 months, I can stay in there for three months. And you don't want to overstay your visa or your 90 days, because they'll stamp your passport. They'll stamp your passport not to let you in. And God forbid I get banned from visiting, the land of Goulash Levish. I don't want that to happen. But apparently, there's some type of a network or a zone of these countries, and I forget the name. I should the Shungen zone or something like that. I forget how you pronounce it. Schungen or something like that. But these countries over there, some of which are not in the European Union, such as Iceland, participate in this travel zone. And you can only stay in this travel zone for 90 days. I don't think the UK is part of this travel zone, and I don't think Ireland is part of this travel zone. And I don't think Croatia is part of this zone. But anyway, so I was just kind of curious to know how to get around that whole 90-day deal limitation. And interestingly enough, one one option, aside from marrying somebody from Europe, one option is to get what's called a freelance visa. And a freelance visa, as I understand it, is relatively easy to get in Germany. And it's good for 1 year. So if I understand it correctly, uh, I could get a freelance visa. A freelance visa is for somebody like myself, a digital nomad. I could get a freelance visa, provided I could show them that I've got money in the bank and I've got travel insurance and I've got, what have you. I could get a freelance visa and I could stay in Europe for up to a year. So, hmm, when you have one of those visas, then I would be able to travel freely throughout Europe for a year. So it's just food for thought. Not that I am going to be going over there for a year, mind you. But anyway, the other thing that I did in anticipation of this coming 8-week period that I need to find a place to stay is the other thing that I did was I went on Airbnb, and this is pretty cool. You go on Airbnb and you just say, "Show me homes in America," for example. You could do your city, or you could do a city, you could do a state, but it's pretty cool when you just say, "Show me homes in America," and you run a filter on it, and you run the filter down to about $40 a night, $50 a night, something like that. I think I'm renting this place for $100 a night at the end of the day, 30 into maybe a little bit more than $100 a night. But anyway, so I ran a filter on Airbnb homes for about 40 to $50 a night. And Airbnb has a new feature that they call Superhost. Superhost, like Superman, Superhost. And these are like the best of the best accommodations. So as I was looking through some of these accommodations for like $40 a night, there were some pretty beautiful places and some really, really nice spots. I mean, there were some spots out in Southern California that were just really, really beautiful. And I saw some places up in Montreal. Not that I want to go to the snow. I don't really want to go anywhere cold. But anyway, as the saying goes, we will see. Time will tell what I end up doing. But anyway, so let's do our high hope for the day today. And I think I'm going to get lost in these. I think because I've just been kind of jumping around in these high hopes. But here is today's high hope. Today's high hope just simply says create. Create. Our creativity is our endless source of energy. It opens our mind's eye and fuels our adventures. It travels with us and lifts our spirits. It constantly duels with our better judgment. Give your creative side a chance to thrive. Encourage it every time it sparks. The question is not what you look at, but what you see. Henry David Thoreau. Question is not what you look at, but what you see. So anyway, create. That reminds me of a story when I was in Budapest years ago. I got a call from a guy named Jim Stein, S-T-I-N, S-T-E-I-N. And if you Google something like Diamond Certified, Google something like Diamond Certified San Francisco or something like that. I was out in San Francisco or Budapest years ago, and I got a email from Jim Stein, who owns that company, Diamond Certified. And he asked me to call him. And it was a rather interesting conversation. I flew from Budapest to California to meet this guy. And without going into too much detail, he told me that he had bought to give you some background on the company, they'll go into different companies. They'll go into an auto repair shop or a dentist or something like that. And they scour their service records, so to speak, and they have the customers do surveys and whatever. And as a business owner, you can become Diamond Certified. It's kind of like BBB approved, something like that. And Jim actually did really well with this concept out in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so anyway, when I called him, he told me that he had bought a web design business. He was buying a web design business. And the reason that he contacted me was because anytime one of these businesses that's Diamond Certified wants to quit their certification, he personally would go and call on the business owner and find out why do they want to quit, because they bring them in like $5,000 a year or something like that. So he went to this one business owner who was an auto repair shop, and he asked the guy, he said, "Why are you quitting?" And the guy said, "I don't need you. I don't need the Diamond Certified. My website is bringing me all the business I need." And anyway, so Jim went home that night, and I guess he dissected my website 9 Ways to Sunday, and he was so impressed that he offered me a job. And what he was anticipating doing was he was going to buy this web design company. He was in negotiation to buy this web design company, and he was going to use the web design company to build websites for these businesses that were Diamond Certified. So what ended up happening, long story short, was I called him on the phone, and he said, "Tom," he said, "listen," he said, "I could run an ad on Craigslist tomorrow and have 500 people apply for the job saying they know web design, et cetera, and none of them would be even close to what I've seen in your work." And he said, "I'm in the process of buying." He said, "I'm in the process of buying a web design company." And he said, "One of two things is going to happen." He said, "I'm going to buy this web design company, and I want you to run it. Or I want to build a web design company around you." And needless to say, I was quite flattered. And it turned out the web design company was a company that I had interviewed for when I was back living in California, and the guy had turned me down because I was using a product called Microsoft Front Page, and here I was going to be this guy's boss if that deal went through. And anyway, the job title, the reason I thought of that story was the job title was Jim was going to give me a job title of being the creative director. I was going to be the creative director at this web design company. Well, anyway, I went to visit this guy, and and he offered me a salary. He offered me a salary of about, I think it was 70,000 a year. 70,000 a year, $80,000 a year, which was about what I was making at that time. Maybe I was making a little bit less, but he offered me the salary of about 70 grand a year, and then there were some incentives and what have you. And I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, $70,000 a year to drive around in San Francisco Bay Area traffic and have to deal with personnel issues of employees and all the headache and everything like that. And I ended up turning him down. I turned him, I turned the offer down. And look at me now, right? Standing in a kitchen by myself on Christmas Eve, talking to a video camera. I mean, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? So anyway, with all that being said, Merry Christmas to all of you. All right, have yourself a merry little Christmas. All right.